Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be deciding my October TBR. This is so weird because this is sort of the first official video that I'm filming with my new camera. So I'm really trying to figure out like the distance to the camera and the settings and similar. So we'll see how it goes. I might be distracted also because I finally see myself in the viewfinder. I could not see myself when I recorded on my old camera. So I might be looking there a bit because, yeah, it's also new to me. Please let me know what you think of the quality, if you have any suggestions for what I should change and so on. My intentions for October is to have a fairly chill reading month. I haven't been able to keep up with my TBRs for either August or September. I've been struggling a bit. So I really hope that October's TBR will be nice for me. Usually I actually mood read throughout the entirety of October. But this year Becca from Becca and the Books is hosting her Spookoplathon, which is her Bookoplathon readathon, but with a spooky twist because she's hosting it in October this year instead of September. I wanted to participate. It's been a while since I properly participated in a readathon and solely focused on that without any other distractions. So I thought that, hey, it could be nice to get some inspiration for the books I should be reading in October. If you don't know, Spookoplathon or Bookoplathon is a Monopoly inspired readathon where you roll 2 dice and there's a board that Becca has created and it gives you prompts. You get to choose how many rolls you want to do, and if you roll doubles you need to roll 1 extra. That's basically how it works. If you want any more information about the readathon in itself, please check out Becca's video. I will link her announcement video somewhere. So I printed a board. I've also created my own cards. You need a set of chance cards and also a set of community shelf cards. The chance cards are supposed to be books, so you like pick them by chance, and to make it interesting you can do like half books you want to read and half books you don't want to read, which is sort of the approach I had. Community shelf cards are supposed to be prompts, so you get to come up with the prompts yourself. Once again, I went with the approach of like half of them being good prompts and half of them being bad prompts. On top of the readathon, I am still trying to keep up with my year-long challenges. So we have Buzzwordathon, Globetrotterathon, and also 12 books recommended by 12 friends. I also want to make a disclaimer already that I'm sort of working on another vlog where I'm low-key randomizing the books I'm reading. So it might happen that the books I talk about in this video will actually already have been read and I will then pick something else for it. I don't know, just a disclaimer. We're gonna do the readathon prompts first, figure those out, and then we'll see how I can adapt it to the other challenges I hope I'm doing. Basically, without any further ado, let's get to the rolls. 5 rolls, let's go. Okay, so welcome to this round of Spookoplathon. We're starting on go, we're gonna do 5 rolls, let's go. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Green. Roll number 1 left me on green. For this I need to read a book with a cover that is dominantly green. And I found a book for this one that I think will be a good choice. The book I plan on reading for this prompt is When Women Were Dragons. As we can see, it has a lovely shade of green on it. It's a bunch of flowers. It's also floppy and it's also fairly short. So this is a book, I would say it's more like fantastical history. It's an alternative history sort of story. It takes place in the 1950s in Wisconsin, and basically suddenly some women become dragons. When hundreds of thousands of ordinary women sprout wings, scales and talons and take to the skies in a blaze of fire and fury, Alex Green is one of those left behind. And no one will talk about what happened. Best forgotten, everyone says. But Alex can't forget, nor does she want to. I think this was released last year. It's a feminist read. It's about 300 pages. Yeah, something like that. I think it will be a good book, and it's dominantly green. So, hey, I feel like it's a nice start to this. Time for the second roll. Roll number 2. 8 again, and a double, which means 6 rolls. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stephen King. The second roll gave me doubles, which means that I need to do a total of 6 rolls for this readathon, but also I ended up on the space for Stephen King. Now, the options for Stephen King are to either read a Stephen King book or to read a book that somehow relates to royalty, because Stephen King is considered to be like the royalty of horror, and also there's king in his name. So either royalty theme or Stephen King. I thought about this a bit, and I think I'm gonna go for the Stephen King one. I've never read Stephen King before. I own 2 of his books, but I haven't read them, so I feel like it's about time that I tackle a Stephen King, and doing it in October would be perfect, honestly. So what I'm gonna go with is Misery. This is, I think, one of his most recommended books, especially for newcomers to this author. It's about a novelist. I believe the story is that he gets kidnapped by a superfan who basically forces him to continue writing his book. Paul finds himself at the mercy of a terrifying rescuer who's nursing him back to health, and is very upset over what Paul did to Misery, his book, or character in a book, and demands that he finds a way to bring her back by writing a new novel, his best yet, and one that's all for her. It's about time. I've had it on my shelves for like 1 or 2 years. It's about time I tackle Stephen King and some horror in October. So that's quite good, actually. We got some fitting reads for an October spooky themed readathon. I actually very rarely read horror or spooky books during the spooky season. It's rare that I adapt my reading to the season that we are in. I think it can be fun to adapt it actually a bit. It's time for roll 3. Roll number 3. 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Broken Mirrors. Roll number 3 put me on Broken Mirrors. This one is a bit tricky, but basically you need to read a book that either has a mirror on the cover or in the title, or there are like cracks on the cover, or it might somehow reflect, like the cover is reflected somehow. I decided to go for the simple route and aim for a book that has mirror in the title. I did find one on my shelves. It's a bit chunkier than I would have preferred actually, but we'll see how it goes. And that book is The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This, I believe, is a fantasy. I think it's adult fantasy or new adult, not certain. Honestly, this was a cover buy because I think it looks so cool with the mask and all. Ren is a con artist who has come to the sparkling city of Nadestra with one goal: to trick her way into a noble house, securing her fortune and her sister's future. But her masquerade is just one of many. And as corrupt nightmare magic begins to weave its way through the city of dreams, the poisonous feuds of its nobility and the shadowy dangers of its impoverished underbelly become tangled, with Ren at her heart. It's a dazzling and darkly magical fantasy adventure. Ooh, I love adventure. The other book I considered picking up for this prompt is The Lonely Castle in the Mirror, or something like that. My friend has that one and said that it actually was quite a quick read. Maybe, I'm not promising anything, but maybe I'll pick that one up instead. We're gonna see. But otherwise, this one. Okay then, time for roll number 4. Roll 4. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's nothing What does it say? I'm from the wrong angle. There's nothing I do better than revenge. Okay, fair enough. Roll number 4 ended me up on one of the Taylor Swift spaces. I'm not a Swiftie, so I don't really know much. It's a lyric from one of her songs. The lyrics are, there's nothing I do better than revenge. The prompt is to read a book with a revenge plot. I think I'm making it difficult for myself now. I know I'm making it difficult. I had a quick Google for books with revenge plots, and there's one that's on every single list, which makes sense. I love the movie, and I have read the, I guess, simplified version of this book a few years back. I read it translated and in Swedish, and it was like half the size, or like even less than half. Like it was like 30% or 40% of the original book. But I've always intended to read the original, not in French though, and I do have a very stunning copy of it. Not sure how convenient it will be for me to read it, but I will make an attempt. You might be wondering what book I'm talking about. The book I'm talking about, I'm laughing already, is The Count of Monte Cristo. Yep. Oh, the shine is reflective. Obviously, this is like this amazingly stunning copy. It's one of the Barnes & Noble, what's it called? Like Omnibus Collection or Canterbury Classics or something like that. I do collect these leather-bound copies of classics. I think they are gorgeous, but I also do intend to read them. I really do. First of all, like the book itself is heavy. On top of that, it's over 1,000 pages. This is a book written by Alexander Dumas. The story is like the revenge plot story. It's about this man who gets accused for a crime that he did not commit, and he's sent off to a prison island where he basically struggles for his life, but he meets someone in this prison that teaches him languages and to count and to train him in like sword fighting and similar. I know the plot because I've seen the movie. And he decides that he will get his revenge on the people that put him in prison to begin with. So he trains for years in order to get his revenge. And it's really epic. Once again, I love and adore the movie. I think it's so cool. I always love a training montage in any movie or media or book. And I love Alexander Dumas' books as well because I've read The Three Musketeers before and have adored that. I am excited to pick it up. I'm gonna say it already, I won't finish this one in October, especially with the other books I got going on. But I would actually be happy if I could start this book and then just continue with it throughout the year and probably into next year as well. I'm accepting that it's gonna take me some time to get through this, but as long as I start it and somewhat get into it, like, should I set up a goal for it? I'm gonna say if I read 150 pages of this, I will be happy. If I read more, that's even better. But yeah, I want to make a start to this at least. Am I setting myself up for failure? Maybe, I don't know. But it's stunning and I do want to read my library, which includes this book. That one's gonna bite me in the ass, I know that. Roll number 5. Roll 5. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A TBR vet. So roll number 5 ended me up on TBR vet. I had to think about this for a bit, but then I actually found quite a good one that will work with another prompt of mine. So the book I plan on reading for this is Vita Nostra by Mariana and Sergei Dyachenko. This is a book that's been on my physical TBR for ages. I've had it for like 2.5 years or something. It's within my first year of doing BookTube. I remember hauling this. It's been on my shelves for a while. I've had it on multiple TBRs as well. It works great with the TBR vet thing, a TBR veteran, but also it's written by Ukrainian authors. And for Globetrotterathon, which is a year-long readathon hosted by Kevin from Much Ado About Books, I need to read a book that somehow relates to Eastern Europe. I've only heard this book being described as like a weird book, a different book, a bit fantastical, I guess. It's about Sasha, who is asked by the mysterious Farit to undertake a strange task for him. She is rewarded with a shining golden coin. The more tasks she performs, the more coins she receives, until Farit instructs her, against the wishes of her family, to travel to a remote village and use her gold to gain entrance to the Institute of Special Technologies. Sasha quickly discovers this is no ordinary school. The books are impossible to read, the lessons obscure to the point of maddening, and the knowledge itself refuses to be remembered. The school uses terror and coercion to keep students in line. Should they transgress at all, their families pay a terrible price. A complex blend of adventure, magic, science, and philosophy, expressed through a distinctly Russian voice, this astonishingly story will transport the reader to a place far beyond imagination. That leads us to roll number 6. And perhaps the final roll, roll 6. 3. 1, 2, 3. A chance card. Okay. I got a mix of things, so we're gonna see. First card in the chance pile. Dracula. Isn't that fitting? For the 6th and final roll on this board, I ended up on chance, and amazingly enough, fittingly enough, the book that I drew was none other than Dracula by Bram Stoker. Perfect for the spooky readathon. I've done well with the books, just saying. I've never read Dracula before. I have this gorgeous letterbound edition that I got from my friend last year, I believe. It's about the vampire. It's the vampire story. I don't know what to expect. I really don't, but it's very fitting with the season. I'm sure you know more than me what Dracula is about. So this is the stack that was chosen from, or that I chose, I guess, for the Spookoplathon. I feel happy with this. We have like a true horror, like Stephen King horror. We have some like weirder-ish books and like fantastical, a bit like speculative, similar to that. We have a fantasy, we have Dracula, we have a translated massive revenge story. So that's it for the readathon. But as I mentioned, there is a couple of year-long challenges that I'm doing. We've already talked about Globetrotterathon, perfect. But then the next year-long readathon that I'm doing is Buzzwordathon, hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. For this one, we need to read a book with poison in the title. Once again, I had two options for this one, but I pulled out a physical read. If I were to read a physical book, it would be a magic steeped in poison. I've actually started it. I read 3 chapters, apparently. I don't remember anything, but I read 3 chapters. Now the thing here is, it's about, I think it's someone who brews teas. For Ning, the only thing worse than losing her mother is knowing that it's her own fault. She was the one who unknowingly brewed the poison tea that killed her. The poison tea that now threatens to also take her sister's shoe. When Ning hears of a competition to find the kingdom's greatest masters of the ancient and magical art of tea making, she travels to the imperial city to compete. The winner will receive a favor from the princess, which may be Ning's only chance to save her sister's life. But between the backstabbing competitors, bloody court politics, and mysterious boy with a shocking secret, Ning's life might actually be the one in more danger. Once again, it's gonna depend on the rest of the TBR, how that goes, I guess. So it will either be this one, or I might listen to the audiobook of Magic, Lies and Deadly Pies. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's, I guess, a cozy mystery, a cozy thriller, and it's available on Script. That's all I need to know in order to pick it. Final year-long challenge I'm doing is my 12 books recommended by 12 friends. I have no clue. I'm just gonna pick something. I'm so behind on this one. I'm gonna need like a dedicated TBR or a dedicated video or month to catch up on this challenge, because I'm not keeping up with that one. On top of that, there is another book I would like to read in October. So I believe in November, the prequel movie to the Hunger Games movies is coming out, and I would like to finally finish The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I picked this one up when it was first released back in 2020. I started it. I read a third that summer, and then I never picked it up again because I was bored, okay? And I didn't really have the intention to continue with the stories. But as the movie is getting closer and there's like a lot of hype building for it, I kind of feel like I would like to read it. So I'm gonna make one final attempt to finish this book. I'm not gonna reread the pages I read, even though it was like 3 years ago. I will just continue with it. I'm on page 164. The book is 517 pages. I'm gonna make one final attempt to read this before the release of the movie, and then I'm gonna be done with it. If you don't know, this is the prequel story to the Hunger Games, where we follow President Snow, but like 50 years ago, or something like that, 60 years ago, maybe even. He becomes a mentor at the 10th Games, and this 10th round of the Hunger Games is actually very crucial to the history of the Hunger Games, because this is when it started to become very commercial. This is when it started to become really grand as well. So it's like an important Hunger Games in the history of the Hunger Games. Once again, I was bored by it, but I want to make one final attempt with it. So I'm throwing this out there. Might pick it up throughout the month, but with this on the list, it's looking like a really chunky October, which wasn't my intention at all. I did not plan for that. As I said, I wanted to take it easy in October. I wanted to have a chill month, read whatever I felt like. The game said no. I, apparently myself, said no. So this is actually the stack for October's TBR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it for this October TBR. Please wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. Let me know what you plan on reading in October. If you will participate in any readathons, such as Spookoplathon, I would love to know about it. And if you read any of the books I've talked about today, share your thoughts about them. I would love to hear about it. Once again, also, let me know what you think of the camera, the settings, all of that. As I said, it's a work in progress. I'm learning. It's the first official video where I'm filming like this. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after.